story up. Nick Cannon. Gosh, that Nick Cannon stays in my, he stays in my top of the blogs, doesn't he? Between Nick Cannon and Wendy Williams, child, which we're going to talk about next. But let's talk about Nick Cannon. So apparently, Taisha Hampton is the ex-wife to Kel from Kenan&Kel. You guys remember the Nickelodeon show that made them two famous. While Kenan went on to be on Saturday Night Live, Kel we kind of didn't see as much, okay? But apparently he had a family. He had a wife, Taisha, and they had two kids together who are actually now grown. And these two have been divorced, I think, since 2005, okay? But we know that Taisha Hampton has come out recently and talked about Kel being a deadbeat dad, Kel being abusive to her, and just kind of mentioned that shit was pretty bad. Now, I'm not really sure why she's talking about it now. I mean, like I said, they broke up in 2005. We're almost 20 years later, and she is talking about this. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on in their lives that she's actually continuing to talk about this. But on her TikTok the other day, she posted randomly a video, and it said that she's remembering the time when she came home early, and hashtag Nick Cannon was wearing my full cheerleading uniform, including the briefs, doing cheers on the bed for my ex-husband, hashtag Kel Mitchell, to cheer him up because he cheated on me. Okay, now that's a little different. Even Nick Cannon, with all of his interesting ways. I mean, when you see him in a cheerleading outfit in the bed, because first she said on the bed, now she's starting to say in the bed with Kel. You know, I mean, that story in and of itself is weird. Just the fact that he would have on the cheerleading uniform and all of that. But I wasn't sure how he was supposed to take that. I was just like, oh, okay. You know, of course, Nick Cannon did respond to it and say that, yeah, we probably had a big ear of corn, a bunch of orange soda, and a couple of Kids' Choice Awards up our asses, too. Okay, that was how he responded. Now, if you kind of one of those ones that just kind of be looking into the conspiracy a little bit, like, I'm thinking like, well, that's not really a denial, Nick. Sarcasm does not mean denial, okay? I'm gonna need you to say absolutely no, it did not happen, or yes, it did happen. But when you talking about, yeah, you know, I was just like, now what do that mean? I guess you could never say that you didn't lie if you just don't answer that. Well, then don't say nothing at all. I guess he's probably saying that he didn't do it and that it was just such a ridiculous thing for her to say that he won't even grace it with an answer. But I was just like, okay, child, whatever. But we do know that Nick Cannon and Kel are close. Nick has made it very clear that Kenan&Kel gave him his start at Nickelodeon, letting him write for their show. You know, that's how he ended up becoming like a junior executive at Nickelodeon, because that show did so well and he was over there, and then they started letting him do other projects. And so I think that he actually looks at the two of them as the ones that gave him like his start, okay? And so he has a lot of respect for Kel. He has a lot of love for him. He's had him on his talk show. Like, you know, he's made it clear how he feels about him. But he ain't said nothing about the bed and the cheerleading outfit. But we don't know. I mean, stranger things have happened, I'm sure. And, I'm not sure if she's trying to say that Nick and Kel were in some sort of intimate relationship. I mean, I guess if you are in the bed with somebody, I mean, it could be looked at that way. I don't know, child. I'm gonna need you to just come right out and say it. You know, what the fuck what happened? Was they doing something? Was they wasn't? Like, did you, because she was still with him for some years. Like, you need to just go on and let everybody know if that's what you're trying to do. Or don't say nothing. Like, this little, tiptoeing around the facts. We need to know what the fuck happened. What are you saying exactly? Okay. So, but that's what's been kind of floating around. What y'all think? Y'all think Kel and Nick had something going? Or is the wife just talking. All right, you guys, and also Wendy. This is again, every week it's Wendy, child. I was like, for somebody that ain't been on TV since last September, we still talking about Wendy, right? But, her show did finally end, the 12-year run, a 12-season run. And they had a, goodbye episode. Some people weren't happy with it, felt like they could have done more for her. They had a little montage at the end that showed her and some of her moments. But for the most part, it was uneventful. It was the ending of a show, ending of an era for some people. They also took down the Wendy Williams YouTube page, which kind of feels petty, okay? I'm not really sure why they took it down. It just seems like it wasn't hurting anybody to leave it up. That was a lot of stuff that they got rid of. I'm sure they still have it. I'm sure that they can get it back up. If people complained enough or something that they felt like they really needed to put it back up, they probably would. But, I don't know. It just seemed like it was petty. And like my girlfriend told me, she was like, it feels like they're trying to erase her legacy. Well, you can't erase this legacy. Everybody knows who Wendy Williams is, and you can take down every fucking single Wendy Williams show that she's ever done. It's still out there. People still remember her for what she's done, who she is, and all of that. But yeah, people were upset about it, and but it's clear that the blood there is bad. Like, it's clear that the Deb Mar or whatever and Wendy Williams, they just don't really see it for each other. And so that part is clear. Her brother has been out talking about, how unfortunate it was that she did that interview with TMZ. I think it was very, very clear for those like myself who didn't want to admit to themselves that Wendy is probably not in the best place right now. That video was the one that did it for me. That was the one that opened my eyes, and I was just like, nope. And somebody said in my comments that it actually seemed like she was, because I couldn't really put my finger on the way that she was, but somebody said it sounds like somebody that might be under the influence of either drugs or medication or whatever, but they're trying to stay on track, like trying to make sure that they bring themselves back to what they're trying, that they're talking about, and not going, if you realize that you have a tendency to go off on tangents or whatever, it seemed like a person that was trying to make sure that they stayed focused. That might have been under some sort of influence. And I was like, yeah, that actually does kind of feel like that's what was going on there. So I hate that she did that, but that did open my eyes that Wendy is not ready to do nothing right now. And the brother has been around. It's hard to ever really know who is Team Wendy, even in her own circle or not. We know that the ex-husband is still around. And he speaks out for her every now and then. The brother speaks out every now and then. Wendy peeks her head out every now and then. You just don't even know who to believe. You just don't even know what to think. But what I do know is that I would like to see Wendy get better. And I think she has enough money that she doesn't even need to do anything else other than trying to get her health back together. Because just the fact that her foot was the way that it was, she looks like she has some issues going on there. So, yeah, that is the update on Wendy. I'm gonna give a Wendy a segment too. Damn it, every week is something about Wendy. Guys, next story up. So Jerry Harris, okay, he is from the Netflix docuseries Cheer, which came out in 2020. I've never seen this show, but it seemed like right when the show first came out, it's been some problems and it's been all this scandal from the very, very beginning. Apparently, Jerry Harris has been sentenced to 12 years in prison. He pled guilty to 2 of 7 charges of sex crimes with a minor. Okay, that was a deal that he struck with prosecution because originally he pled not guilty to all the 7 charges when he was originally arrested. But he eventually did go on and strike a deal with prosecution. Like I said, he pled guilty to 2 of the 7 charges. They said that he was traveling to Florida to engage in sexual conduct with minor children. He was with a 15-year-old. They said he persuaded a 17-year-old to send him explicit photos for money. And there were like 10 to 15 children in all these different states where he was requesting photos, and so you got child pornography in there. I mean, he was doing a lot. All this happened in 2018, 2019. I believe he was 19 years old. Then, like I said, he got arrested shortly after the debut of that show, Cheer. He was also sentenced to 8 years of supervised probation once he gets out of prison. But Harris's lawyer is trying to say that in the cheer community, which I can actually believe, much like the gymnastics community, but in the cheer community, that this is all very normal. The fact that, you know, you've got like these, you know, everybody's kind of like sexualized, the you know, the young kids, and they have a tendency to inappropriately sexualize children. The same with like pageant, you know, competition type things, that this has been like the temperature of that community for a long time. And either you don't engage in it at all or you are fully engaged in it. And he felt like that this was just something normal. The fact that he was having sex with these younger kids, I mean, and you know, asking for photos and everything. So he didn't even really feel like he was doing anything wrong. Reed, probably a lot of other people were doing it too. He was the one that got caught. I don't know why he ever thought that it was okay to, you know, engage with sexual acts with minor children on any community. Like, we already know that's looked down, frowned down upon, and it's against the law. It's illegal, and it's sickening, it's nasty, it's gross. So I was just like, yeah, I mean, I guess to an extent you might think that it's part of the community, but at some level you know that this is wrong. Okay. And you know how he's affected these kids. This has also happened to him when he was younger. So this is all that he knew. And he continued on the cycle. Well, they ended up stopping the cycle here. And they say that he was going to face 50 years for the charges. Okay. He was asking for, him and his lawyers were asking for 6 years. The prosecution was asking for 15 years. So they came up with 12 years. You know, that he will have to serve. And I'm not sure if this is federal or not. You know, once you start crossing the state lines and shit, and you're doing things, I don't know if email is considered the same as like regular postal mail, but you know, when you start involving the government in shit, then that's when, you know, it turns federal. I'm not quite sure if that's what it is here or not, but yeah, we have no sympathy for pedophiles and child molesters and rapists and yeah, none of that. So he needs to go to jail. They did the right thing. He will be in jail for 12 years, you know, and we'll see if he gets out early or whatever. But as of now, 12 years for Jerry Harris. All right, you guys, next story up. So Tyler LaPlay. Okay, Tyler LaPlay plays Diamond on the hit show P-Valley. We are actually in season 2, and I review that show. If you don't watch those reviews, you should. It's a good time. Anyway, Tyler LaPlay, we know, is in a relationship with Miracle Watts, who actually plays Big Bone on the same show. And that is his love interest. We believe it will be anyway, on the show as well. Also in real life, they are together. She is expecting a baby any minute now. And I believe they just recently got engaged and they bought a home together. This is a relationship that's happening. Okay. Now, last year, was it last year? He broke up with April King, his ex. Depending on who you ask, ex-fiance or just ex-girlfriend. I mean, Miracle Watts said that was never his fiance, and people have just said that it was the fiance to put 20 on 10. But anyway, whatever it is, she's an ex now. They were together when he started filming with Miracle Watts, Let April, what's her name? Let April tell it. Did I say Erica earlier? I meant to say April if I did. But I guess April King had been saying that she was with Tyler, and then when he started recording the show with Miracle Watts, then all of a sudden shit went sour in their own relationship, and he ended up breaking up with her. Okay, they had 2 small children together, the youngest one just being 8 months old. Okay, and he ended up being with Miracle Watts, and like I said, they have built a whole full relationship and building a family. Okay, and April has been a little salty about it. I've seen little things about her over the time, you know, but I think that everybody had pretty much moved on with their lives. But recently Miracle Watts was on her Instagram, I guess her Instagram live, and she was talking to her followers, and she was saying how she has a business. I don't even know what she sells, but she was saying how her business sales are not popping. You would think that they were, because we've got so many Instagram famous and rapper girlfriends and all of them who start a business and seem to do pretty well with it. She was saying that that's not the case for her, and that her business is pretty slow, but she's gonna keep it going. Nothing's gonna stop her, you know, because she has mouths to feed. Okay, and she put an S on the end of that. Somebody that was listening to it actually commented and said, "You said mouths, plural. Okay, do you have more than one child?" And she says, "I have 3 children." Okay, and she put a little heart emoji or something like that. Well, April King, I'm not sure if she just sitting up here going through Miracle's, you know, making sure whatever Miracle's saying, she watching or whatever, if somebody reached out to her and said something about it. Not really sure how she was able to even know that this was being said and going on, but she went into the comments and said, okay, so you met one of my children twice and the other one only once. Okay, you don't even know these damn kids. Basically, you do not have 3 kids. You have 1 child on the way. Okay, and Miracle came back on and said, well, you know what, I'm not trying to take your place as a mother. Okay, I realize that those are your children. However, I am in a relationship with their father, and you should be happy that there's a woman that wants to include your kids with our family when they're with our family, because that's not usually the case. You know, when shit goes bad, sometimes, you know, the new woman don't even want to fuck with them other kids. You should be happy that somebody wants to include your children in this fold, you know, of love that's happening over here. Well, and that's true. You know, I'm gonna try to look at it from April's outlook first. Okay. April is probably a scorned woman. Okay, the relationship broke up, you know, however the way she sees it. You know, if she blames Miracle or whatever, yes, she's gonna be salty. Yes, she's gonna have some shit to say. Okay, so I mean, I can understand why, if you already ain't feeling it for that bitch, you know, then here they come saying, trying to claim your kids and everything, that you would immediately get in your feelings. But you know, I just would hope that April would realize that if the man didn't want to be with you, you probably better off without him. I mean, he could have actually stayed with you and still tried to mess around with Miracle. You know, it could have been a whole bunch of other scenarios that wouldn't have been favorable too. And maybe it's a blessing that you guys are not together. I'm sure it's hard to, you know, see that when you mad and all of that. But if the man didn't want to be with you, then consider it a blessing. Okay, that you didn't have to go through what many other people go through when a man tries to dip his toe in 3 different places and he realizes that he can't, you know. So it's okay. Okay, but I mean, I understand why she would say that, but I also think ultimately you would want your children to be around somebody that includes their, you know, your kids. I mean, we just had the whole debate about, you know, the girl having the baby daddy and he only bringing the food for 1 kid and all of that. I mean, that's never a situation that your children are going to have to deal with. Okay, that you got a man, I mean, you have a baby's father who actually has a woman who is mature enough to accept everything. And, you know, so I know it's easier said than done, but I'm just like, April, girl, just let it go, child. Just let it go. We know that Miracle is not they kids, that, you know, they not her kids, and that she is counting them, but not, those are like bonus kids for her, okay? So it's okay, girl. It's all right. Rocky understand, girl, but I'm telling you, it's probably better this way. Okay, so that's how I feel. Have you guys ever been in a situation like this, where it was a woman that didn't want to accept your kids? Or have you been in a situation where it took, you know, it took some maturity to grow up and realize that, I mean, it is what it is. He's with this new woman, and I can either fight this shit as hard as I can, or I can just try to, you know, go along to get along. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's mostly important is the kids, you know, and making sure that your kids are happy and all. So I understand what April's saying, but no, April, just, girl, just let it go, child. Next story up, you guys. ViolaDavis. She's going to be starring in a new action-packed movie called The Warrior King. The Woman King, child. Let me start that over. ViolaDavis. She will be starring in a new action-packed movie called The Woman King. And it is about an all-woman team of warriors who protected the African kingdom of Dahomey in the 1800s, basically. These women actually are the women that the warriors from Black Panther, the movie, the Marvel movie, they were based on these actual women. This is an actual true events, you know, movie that was inspired by true events. And these are the Amazon women. You've heard that term before. But so these are the women that that they're talking about when they call them Amazon. It's another word. Is it emoji? A-A-M-O? I can't think of it. I read the whole article about it, but I can't think of the name, and I didn't put it in here. But anyway, the movie is inspired by true events, and we have ViolaDavis, who is playing the head of the warrior team, okay? And apparently there's some colonizers that are trying to come in, and these women have come in to protect the kingdom and make sure that, you know, that they don't take it over, basically. And so people were like, wow, so ViolaDavis is an action hero now? And you know, we just in Roxy Reads Book Club, who would love to have you guys, we actually just read her autobiography. And if you read the book, then you would be actually not so surprised that she would take a role like this. As a matter of fact, it kind of feels like this is the role that she's been waiting for like all of her life, because of the things that she's gone through, her challenges, you know, that she's faced being a dark-skinned Black woman, and now she gets to play this powerful ass African role of this woman who is, you know, badass and all of that, but they still are going to make sure that they have elements in the movie where they just not just full-blown just killers all the time. I mean, we're going to get a story, we're going to get, you know, a love story, and we're going to get other things that are in there. But I think that this is the role that ViolaDavis has been preparing for, you know, Juilliard trained, and you know, Oscar nominated and Emmy. I mean, like all of her accomplishments, I feel like this is probably the one that she's waited for the most. Okay. They are already talking about Oscar. You know, we haven't even, the movie comes out, I believe, September 16th. But there's already whispers about Oscar. This is supposed to be like the Black woman Braveheart. Okay. That same feel of like these women who just take no prisoners, you know, badass, strong, protecting the kingdom, protecting the king. And like I said, they were based on the Black Panther movies, who we was already feeling those girls. So just to know where the actual story came from, I'm excited to see it. She is an executive producer. Bythe Wood, what's her first name? She is the director for the movie. From all accounts, it's something that is going to be something to see. So I definitely will be looking out for it. It's going to be an exclusive movie release, so it's not going to go to streaming. So they putting a whole lot behind this movie, okay? And when you see the actual trailer of it, man, it looks like it's some shit happening there. And I know that Viola said that she had to train 4 hours every day, 5 days a week, you know, just to get her body in condition for it. I mean, Viola was never big anyway, but you know, you got to have a certain kind of strength, and she had to learn machete, you know, wielding, and all of the different things that she had to learn. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. I hope it does well for her, so it can erase some of the, you know, the shit we still feel from the Michelle Obama. Which, I mean, everybody is allowed a bad day. You know, everybody's allowed a bad one. So that, you know, we're not gonna hold her to it. I mean, ViolaDavis has proven to us time and time again that she is that actress, okay? It don't even matter that she's black or white. She is that one. So we can kind of weed out the ones that didn't go all that well, okay? But I think this is going to be one that's going to be a big one for her. So comes out September 16th. Will you be going to see it? Next story up, you guys, RayJ. Y'all know RayJ is the funniest person to me. But did you guys see this tattoo that he got on his thigh, I believe it was, of his sister? Didn't I just tell you guys last week that him and Brandy have the strangest relationship? I mean, it's not strange, but it's super duper close. And then he turns around and gets a tattoo of his sister on his thigh. It's just, I mean, how many of you have a tattoo of your siblings on your body that is still alive? I mean, you know, I understand people get tattoos in memoriam of their family members all the time, but you have one of your sister, you are married, and you have 2 kids, and maybe he has tattoos of Prinky and the babies as well. But I just, you know, I mean, your mama and your daddy's still alive, and you getting, it's just interesting to me, child. It's the bond there is just is just something totally different. But the tattoo is awful. It's awful. It looks demonic. I was just like, you know, everybody can't do those life portrait type of tattoos, because there is a special skill in being able to convey the emotion of a picture. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes you can see a picture. It can be a picture of a person who is just looking like they are laughing, and then you get that same tattoo and they look like they are screaming. Or you can see a picture of a person that is just kind of straight face, and then when you look at it from the tattoo, it looks sad, or it looks like something wrong. Well, Brandy's looks demonic. I was just like, this is, I mean, it don't 100% look like Brandy to me, but it does sort of. But like I said, it looked like Brandy who's down in hell. So it's just sort of like, why you got that? You done spent good money on this, and then it's on your thigh. And child, I don't know. I mean, did he say why he got the tattoo? Because I know y'all might, maybe he had put out a statement of what was the reasonings, but I just was like, okay. I mean, I guess. But I told y'all that Ray and Brandy, it's a love there that's unexplainable. Okay, but yeah, scary tattoo. Baby, get that covered up with something else. Lastly, you guys, congratulations are in order to Rihanna, our girl Rihanna, who is now the youngest self-made female billionaire in the country. Okay, she ranked number 21 on the Forbes list. She's 34 years old, you guys, and she is worth $1.4 billion. Okay, so Forbes put her on the list. They put her on because of her self-made score. Her self-made score is 10. And usually to be self-made, you have to have been born into poverty or born in lower middle class and, you know, have faced some adversity in your life. Okay, those are kind of the requirements. I'm parked on the street because you guys been seeing me looking at all different areas because I got all this shit going on in front of my car. I'm parked on the street because they have to come get something out of our driveway. But that was the reason why Rihanna has been put on the list at that number. And yeah, let's just look at some numbers. So she has Fenty Beauty. Okay, that made $550 million in 2020. Okay, she also has 30% stake in the Savage Fenty lingerie line. And so they made $1 billion at the beginning of 2021. Okay, they were estimated, they were valuation of $1 billion at the beginning of 2021. And honey, y'all already know 30% of $1 billion, you doing really, really good. So good for Rihanna. $1.4 billion, you guys. It's just the black girl magic, fist pump of righteousness. We got to give it up to her. I tell you guys all the time how much I love Rihanna, because I just feel like, you know, she is unproblematic. She makes her money. She minds her business. Okay, she peeks her head out every now and then. We love to see it. People really would still like to get the music from her, but you know what? I'm okay. I'm just like, sis, do what you do. Raise your family, be with your man, and do what you want to do, girl. When you got that kind of money, why deal with all of that? Okay. But yeah, so yeah, fist pump of righteousness, like I said, for our black girl magic. You're just not gonna get enough of us now, are you? All right, you guys, let me get off of here. We do this every single week, so make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.